All right, hey guys, we're going to continue talking about our reflexive verbs, a continuation from last video. And remember, we talked about that when we use our reflexive verbs, we're talking about actions that happen to ourselves, that we do to ourselves, better yet, indicating things that I do to myself, that you do to yourself, he does to himself. We do to ourselves, they do to themselves. And remember, in Spanish, we treat the verbs like we normally do. The only thing different is that in front of that verb, we have to use either me, te, se, nos, or se. So let's take a look at this verb right here, levantarse. Levantarse. Now, this verb means to get up or to stand up. It can mean, for example, to get up in the morning. It can mean actually to do this, to stand up. All right, so let's take a look at it. And for a second, we're not even going to consider the se on the end. Okay, so let's not even think about that se. Let's just look at the verb. And I'm here to tell you that verb is completely regular. So you should be able to deal with it again, just like you can deal with tomar or trabajar or bailar. Okay? So the yo form, what would the yo form be? Yo levanto. Okay? Just like any AR verb. Tú levantas. Él levanta. All right. I'm just going to put the nosotros and the ellos down here just for space, okay? So, nosotros levantamos, forgetting my train of thought, and ellos levantan. Okay. So the verb forms as we have them right there on the board, they're perfect. But I mentioned earlier that levantarse means to get up or to stand up. Well, levantarse has an se on the end, so that indicates it's a reflexive verb. The way I have the verbs listed right now is not in a reflexive way. For example, yo levanto does not mean that I get up or I stand up. It means this. Let me grab my little product right here. It means this. I got a chair in front of me. Ugh. That's what yo levanto means. I lift up. I raise up, as in something else. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. To raise up or to get up. One does it to him or herself. So in order to indicate that in Spanish, what is it that we have to put in front of these verbs? You got it. Yo me levanto. Now that means I get up. I get my body up. Yeah? Not that I raise up a chair or a table, but I get myself up. I'm not an invalid, so nobody has to raise me up out of a bed. No one has to do that for me. If you do have to help maybe someone in your family who has difficulties or has some kind of whatever type of handicap and they need help, there's nothing wrong with that. And in that case, you would say, yo levanto. I raise up, as in someone else. If, let's say, an elderly person or a child has fallen and you want to go and lift them up, then all you would say is, yo levanto. I raise up whoever it is, because you would be performing an action on somebody or something else. But when you do it to yourself, you are the one who is doing this action to yourself. So to indicate that, we say yo me levanto. All right. If you get up, tú te levantas, él se levanta, nosotros nos levantamos, and ellos se levantan. So what I'm doing here is I'm indicating that I get up, you get up, he gets up, we get up, they get up. Again, yo me levanto a las 7 de la mañana. I get up at 7 in the morning. ¿A qué hora te levantas tú? What time do you get up? Rosa se levanta a las 9 de la mañana. So Rosa gets up at 9 in the morning. If you're talking about a plural group, you could say nosotros nos levantamos a las 6 de la mañana. So we get up at 6 in the morning. Okay? So again, just depending on who it is you're talking about, that would be what determines if we need the me, the te, the se, the nos, and the se. Again, guys, when you're dealing with reflexive verbs, as I've mentioned in this video and in the previous video, you have to have the me, te, se, nos, and se. Gotta have it. Now, you can omit the yo, tú, el, nosotros, and ellos. Those can be omitted just like they can be with other verbs that we've learned this semester, as long as it's clear about who you're talking about. And really the only ones you have to kind of consider about it being clear in conversation is the él, ella, usted form and the ellos, ellas, ustedes. Because you see, if I get rid of ellos and all I say is se levantan, you don't know who it is that's getting up. You know it's a plural group, but you would need some more context, because we know that many millions of subjects could go with se levantan. Okay? So for that reason, you'd have to establish who it is that's getting up so we would know who you're talking about, and then you could omit that. But if I omit the nosotros and all you see is nos levantamos, well, nothing else besides nosotros or nosotras could match up with nos levantamos. So there's no confusion. So for that reason, you could omit the nosotros if you wanted to. It wouldn't cause any confusion. But down here, if I get rid of ellos and you just see se levantan, again, you're not going to know who that's referring to. Same thing happens right here with él se levanta. Remember, this is the form for él, ella, and usted. I can get rid of the él, and that's grammatically correct. But if you don't have any context, you don't know who it is that's getting up. Is he getting up? Is she getting up? Or you formal getting up? Who is it? So at first you would need to let us know. We would need to have that context established. If I say él se levanta, he gets up, later on in that sentence you could omit the él, because it would be obvious from your context that you're talking about him. Now look at these last two. If I get rid of the tú and I just have te levantas, that's obvious from context, because nothing else can match up to te levantas except tú. So for that reason, you can get rid of tú and omit it in speech or in writing if you'd like to, and there's no confusion. You can do the same thing with yo, because nothing else can match up with me levanto except yo. So if you omit the yo, it would be perfectly understood rather. Okay? So again, this is just a little bit more of a review with your reflexive verbs. So keep on reflexing, right? Don't hit yourself, don't hit yourself, don't hit yourself. Hey!